Supervised learning is useful if you already know the answer. Supervised learning is a type of machine learning that is the simplest to understand and can be very, very useful when you're trying to plow through a lot of decisions. I want to help you understand what supervised learning is so you'll know where it makes sense and what kinds of problems it can solve. Supervised learning is where you teach the machine through example and correction. You can't really explain how you know a cat is a cat, but you know one when you see one. Writing a list of cat features and a bunch of rules in software to define a cat is beyond difficult. But if you give the machine 1,000,000 pictures of cats, it can determine how to recognize a cat on its own, especially as you correct it when it's wrong. That's the supervision part. Labeling your data is the difficult bit. That's where somebody has to sit down and identify and label or tag each picture that has a cat in it. That takes an enormous amount of time, so we have to get smart about how we make it happen. You know those CAPTCHA quiz photos that ask you to click on the squares that have stoplights in them to prove that you're a human? You are labeling data for the machine. Thank you. For our cat problem, you could head over to Google Images, find a bazillion pictures that are pre-labeled. Job done. And that's your training data. The machine looks at all of those photos and figures out what they have in common and decides which elements are the most predictive of catness. Using these criteria, it looks at unlabeled photos and practices what it's learned. When you get the chance to say, yes, these are cats, or correct the errant machine by labeling those that are skunks or weasels, do that enough, and it will no longer call a skunk a cat. When asking the computer to tell the difference between a wolf and a dog, you'd expect it to suggest that a picture of a husky is a wolf, so you correct it a whole bunch of times, and eventually it can tell the difference. But when you're stunned, when it says that a picture of a St. Bernard is a wolf, they don't look anything alike. The machine isn't looking at the animal. It's looking at the relationship of pixels in the picture. The picture of the St. Bernard shows it standing in the snow. Most of the wolf pictures it's seen also show an animal standing in the snow. Therefore, statistically, it's more likely that the thing is a wolf. You carry on a conversation with the machine until it starts coming up with good enough answers, and then better answers, and eventually results that are far superior and much faster than humans can come up with. So think about some simple tasks that are very hard to describe in strict detail, but that a 6-year-old could manage, and you might come up with a list of ways supervised learning can be put to use.